Welcome friends in a lecture series of fluid mechanics with another session. In the previous session, we have seen characteristics of the fluid in which we have discussed different properties of the solid and liquid and gas. Then we have seen properties of the liquid in which we have discussed first the density rho, which is nothing but the mass per unit volume. And the unit of which is kg per meter cube, followed by the weight density or simply a specific weight, which is the ratio of the weight of the fluid to the volume of the fluid. And the unit of that is Newton per meter cube. And we have derived the relation weight density equal to rho into g, which is widely used to calculate the volume of the any fluid, or sometime it may be used for solid. Followed by the specific gravity, which is nothing but the relative density or relative mass density of any fluid, in which it is considered to relative to the standard fluid. In liquid, standard fluid is water with the density of 1000 kg per meter cube, and for gaseous form, standard fluid is considered as a air with 1 kg per meter cube mass density. Followed by the definition of viscosity, mu, which is nothing but the measurement of resistance offered by the fluid to shear stress, or simply we can say resistance offered to flow of the fluid. And then we have derived the relation of viscosity mu equal to tau divided by du by dy, and the unit of viscosity is Newton into second per meter square in SI, and in MKS it is the kgf into second per meter square, and in CGS it is dyne per second per cm square, which is also called as a poise. And the relation between poise and Newton into second per meter square is 1 poise equal to 0.1 Newton into second per meter square. Now we will move ahead with the new definition, which is kinematic viscosity. Kinematic viscosity is defined as the ratio between the dynamic viscosity and density of the fluid. So here, as per the definition, nu, it is equal to viscosity, dynamic viscosity, or simply viscosity to the density, say mu by rho. And unit is as per the definition. In SI unit it is meter square per second, in MKS it is meter square per second, in CGS unit it is cm square per second, which is also called as a Stoke. But this is a very big unit. So in most of the cases or practical application, always the kinematic viscosity is measured in Stoke or semi-Stokes. Here the question came into mind, what is the requirement of kinematic viscosity while we have a dynamic viscosity? So the answer is that kinematic viscosity, here you can say in every unit it is just an kinematic property, whereas the dynamic viscosity, it is the property, it is dynamic property, and that have some force in that unit. So dynamic viscosity is a dynamic property and kinematic viscosity is kinematic property. So this is the difference between these two. Followed by the relation, followed by the Newton's law of viscosity. Here, what the Newton says about the viscosity, it says that the shear stress tau on a fluid element layer is directly proportional to the rate of shear strain, or simply a velocity gradient. So here tau is directly proportional to the du by dy or velocity gradient, and if we remove the proportionality sign, then we have to add some constant, and that constant is nothing but the dynamic viscosity mu. So we get the relation of mu equal to tau divided by du by dy, and this constant of proportionality is nothing but the dynamic viscosity, or simply viscosity. Let move ahead. Types of fluid according to the Newton's law of viscosity. So first, ideal fluid. Here you can say, before going on the definition, here you can say the graph showing x-axis as a velocity gradient du by dy with the unit per unit time, and shear stress with the unit Newton per meter square. Let's see the types of fluid according to the Newton's law of viscosity. First is the ideal fluid. Ideal fluid is the fluid which does not possess any viscosity, does not possess any surface tension, or which is considered as a completely incompressible. So it has a tau equal to 0. So ideal fluid you can put on the this x-axis here, and the mu is also equal to 0. But in nature or in real practical application, there is a no fluid as a no fluid considered as a ideal. But fluid which have a very very low viscosity, it is considered to be as a ideal fluid in some applications. So this is the first ideal fluid. We will move ahead in the types of fluid. Then the second is the Newtonian fluid. So we have seen the Newton's law of viscosity that says that shear stress is directly perpendicular to the velocity gradient. Which fluid are follows these rules or follows this law are considered as a Newtonian fluid. So here you can, in the graph you can see as a red line here, this is a Newtonian fluid in which the shear stress or the change in shear stress is directly perpendicular or equal to the change in velocity gradient, and it always follow this relation tau equal to mu into du by dy. Now see the examples are water, kerosene, air, or simply we can say in nature, most of the fluid we get in nature are considered as a Newtonian fluid. Not all. There are few fluids which does not follow the Newtonian fluid. So this is the Newtonian fluid. Now next type of fluid is non-Newtonian fluid. So it is just simply as a it is considered as a fluid which does not follow the Newton's law of viscosity. Say it does not have a linear relation between shear stress and velocity gradient, say du by dy. Here in the graph you can say you can see this graph as a blue line which does not have a linear relation between tau and du by dy, as well as this is also considered as a non-Newtonian fluid which does not follow the Newton's law of viscosity. Okay. Then we can see it have a linear relation. Mathematical relation is not linear. Here you can say tau equal to du by dy raised to n power. So the change in tau does not resemble directly to the change in velocity gradient. It has some other relation than this proportionality. This power n may be greater than 1 or may be less than 1. According to this, there are two types of non-Newtonian fluid. But before going on that, let's see the example of the non-Newtonian fluid, which is the solution or suspension, slurries, mud flows, polymer solution, our blood. These all are the example of non-Newtonian fluid. Then in non-Newtonian fluid, we have seen there are two types according to the n. Here n is tau equal to du by dy raised to n. If n is less than 1, then it is a pseudoplastic fluid, such that paper pulp, rubber suspension, paints, etc. And if the value of n is greater than 1, then it is considered as a dilatant fluid. So here you can see the dilatant fluid which have a value n is greater than 1, and non-Newtonian fluid or pseudoplastic fluid which have a value of n is less than 1. So in dilatant fluid, as the shear stress increases, the velocity gradient is increases more than the rate of tau. And in non-Newtonian fluid or pseudoplastic fluid, as the shear stress increases, the velocity gradient decreases, or the rate of increment is less than the shear stress. So these are the three types of fluid according to the Newton's law of viscosity. Let's move ahead. Then next is the plastic fluid. Here you can say there are ideal plastic fluid and thixotropic substance, or it is also considered as a plastic fluid which does not follow the Newton's law of viscosity. So there are two types of fluid, ideal plastic fluid and thixotropic substance. Say plastic which does not follow tau equal to mu du by dy. So if we see the technical definition, then ideal plastic fluid has a definite yield stress. Here you can say this is a definite yield stress, or that is already present in the particular fluid. Definite yield stress and a constant linear relation between shear stress and the rate of angular deformation. Mathematically, we can say tau equal to mu into du by dy plus with some constant value. This is nothing but the yield stress which is already present in the fluid. So this is the mathematical relation for this ideal plastic fluid. And after this yield stress, again, ideal plastic fluid will follow the Newton's law of viscosity. Say tau will follow the tau equal to mu du by dy, but with some constant is already present or some stress is already present there. If you see the example, then sewage sludge, drilling muds, etc. are the example of plastic fluid. But thixotropic substances are those substances which does not follow the Newton's law of fluid, or it is considered as a non-Newtonian fluid, has a non-linear relation between the shear stress and the rate of angular deformation beyond an initial yield state. So just like an ideal plastic fluid, it have already some stress or yield stress, but after that yield stress, it does not follow the Newton's law. So in that manner, we can say it is an non-Newtonian plastic fluid. This is just for understanding in layman term we can say, but ideal term is the thixotropic substance. So in thixotropic substance, printer inks, cream, honey, crude oil, etc. are considered as a thixotropic substances. So these are the two fluid which are considered as another type of fluid according to the Newton's law of viscosity. Now let us discuss about the change of or the changes in the viscosity of the fluid with respect to the temperature and pressure too. First, we will discuss about the effect of temperature on viscosity. So here in the graph, you can see liquid and gas both have a different proportional sign for the increment or decrement of the temperature. First, we will talk about the liquid. In liquid, the viscosity is responsible because viscosity is because of this intermolecular cohesion, which offers the resistance to flow. So, as the temperature increases, this cohesive force will decreases, and so the viscosity is also decreases. So, in liquid, we can say the temperature, as the temperature increases, the intermolecular cohesion decreases, and so the viscosity also decreases. While in gaseous, it will it have some different relation because in gaseous form, intermolecular cohesion intermolecular cohesion force is very less comparative to the liquid. So here, the intermolecular cohesion is no longer a parameter for responsible for viscosity. But here in gas, the exchange of molecular momentum of the molecules are responsible for the viscosity, and it will increase with the temperature increases in the gas, and so the viscosity will also increases. Whereas in while the temperature decreases, it have a linear relation. It is vice versa only, nothing else. So in liquid and gaseous, there are two different parameters which are responsible for the viscosity, and so both have a different relation with the increase of temperature. Here you need to remember those two responsible parameter for liquid and gas, which is intermolecular cohesion and exchange of momentum of molecules. Here some mathematical relation is given for both liquid and gas. So for liquid, dynamic viscosity at a particular temperature is A into e raised to beta by T, where A in beta both are constant. It is fixed for a particular given liquid, and mu T is the dynamic viscosity at a absolute temperature T. Whereas for gas, mu T equal to B into T raised to 1 by 2 divided by 1 plus A by T, where T is the absolute temperature and mu T is the dynamic viscosity, and A and B both are constant and which are fixed for a particular fluid, say liquid or gas. So that is all for today, friends. And in conclusion, what we have seen today, first we have seen the definition of kinematic viscosity, then Newton's law of viscosity, and then types of fluid according to the Newton's law of viscosity, Newtonian fluid, non-Newtonian fluid, ideal fluid, real fluid, plastic fluid, ideal plastic fluid, and thixotropic substance. Then according to the power n if n is greater than 1 and if n is less than 1, then dilatant fluid and non-internal fluid are considered. So, and after that, the effect of temperature on the viscosity. So, this is that is all for today, and we will meet in the next session of the fluid mechanics.